Okay, the leopard poachers, part 2. Ali nodded. So which way is our camp? We've got to find Mum and Dad. We must tell the police what we saw. Samir frowned, staring hard at the compass. We have to go that way, he said, pointing to the right. No, wait, that way. He pointed in the opposite direction. Oh, we're lost, Ali groaned. You don't have a clue where we are, do you? Samir didn't know, but he couldn't let his brother down. He had to find a way to safety. Come on, he said, getting to his feet. Let's start walking. We'll be fine. Don't worry. Ali got up too, and then saw something move on his brother's back. Samir, he hissed in a voice full of dread. Don't move. Samir froze, hearing the fear in his brother's voice. What is it? He whispered back. He looked up the mountain, thinking he would see a man with a gun coming towards them, but there was nothing. There's a massive, gigantic thing on your back. Oh, Samir whimpered in terror, standing statue still. What is it? Well, it's pale and weird, and it's got 10 legs, and it's bigger than my hand, Ali said, staring at it in horrible fascination. A camel spider, Samir shrieked. Get it off me! Ali grabbed a stick from the ground and was about to whack the spider as hard as he could when he realised Samir mightn't like that too much. So instead, he angled the stick under the spider and then with all his might he flicked it away. The spider flew into the air like a mutant 10-legged bird. It thudded against a rock ledge and hit the ground with a splat. Samir turned in time to see it wobble a bit and then scamper away behind some boulders. That animal was gigantic and it had been heading for his neck. Samir felt faint, but didn't want to sit down in case its friends were lurking nearby. How can a spider have 10 legs? Ali asked, ready to run if the thing poked its head out again. Well, it's not really a spider, but it's part of the sort of spider-scorpion family, and it's not poisonous. But it can still bite, Samir said. Thanks for getting it off me, Ali. You did well. Ali tried to smile at the praise and hide the tears in his eyes all at the same time. His shins throbbed and he could feel the bruise on his head from bumping the overhang in the cave. He'd shared a cave with a snake. A monster spider thing had hitched a ride on his brother's back. They were lost and they were being hunted by poachers. It really wasn't a good day. He sagged his shoulders and looked up at Samir. I want to go home, he sniffed, wiping his nose on his shirt sleeve. Samir stared at his brother. Ali looked dreadful, and Samir knew he was just as bad. Come on, he said. We've got to keep going. We'll come across something we recognise soon and find the camp. But what about the poachers? We can't let them see us. We're way ahead of them by now. Samir tried to sound confident. And we can run faster than them if they do see us. He wondered if that was really true. I can't, Ali moaned. I'm beat. Samir felt terrible. Everything he did, Ali always wanted to try too. I mean, it was annoying at times. Today, when Ali had insisted on climbing the mountain with his big brother, Samir chose the hardest path, the steep track that he climbed once before with his dad. He knew the way, but he also knew it would be hard for Ali to keep up. Big brother's rule, okay? But now the rules had changed. They were lost. They were in danger, and it was his fault. If they'd stayed on the main track, they wouldn't have seen the poachers. With a cringe of guilt, Samir remembered his mum's gentle smile as they left the camp. "Watch Ali for me," she said. He had to get Ali to safety. "Listen," Samir said finally. "I'll climb a ridge and see if I can spot the campsite. You stay here and rest." Ali nodded, but moved well away from where the camel spider had run. Samir scanned the area. They'd wandered into a deep valley. Steep cliffs were either side of them. There was no way he could climb up here. He was about to suggest they keep walking. Then he noticed an old palm tree had blown over years ago, and its trunk made a bridge to a rock shelf. From there he would be able to see out across the sand dunes and hopefully spot his camp. He jumped onto a boulder and then leapt up onto the sideways tree, running along the trunk higher and higher into the air. The gusty wind threatened to unbalance him. Ali watched, alone and vulnerable. "Wait," he called. "I'm coming too." He clambered over the boulder and crawled onto the trunk. "Careful, Ali," Samir cried. "The tree's rotting in places." And just then, to prove what he said was true, Samir's foot crunched through the bark and he had to grab the prickly trunk to keep from falling. He knocked his head on the rocks beside the tree and blood oozed out. Suddenly he gave an enormous yelp. "Yow! Bees! I've just squashed their hive!" Samir wrenched his foot from the hole and wriggled back down the trunk, slapping his arms and his face as he went. Ali's heart raced. He stood numb with terror, watching the swarm around Samir. Ali was allergic to bees. He always carried special tablets in case he was stung, but Mum kept them in her bag, and neither Mum nor her bag were here now. Too many stings, and he'd be dead in minutes. Samir knew his brother was in danger. "Run!" he cried. With a howl of fear, Ali jumped off the tree, scrambling down the boulder, and began to sprint as soon as his feet hit the ground. Samir was close behind him. They ran until the angry buzz was left well behind. They ran until they could run no more. When they stopped, both boys were sobbing in pain. Samir was covered in red lumps and blood trickled down his face. Then he looked at his brother. Ali's right eye had already started puffing up. "How many times were you stung?" Samir asked. "Only once," Ali blubbered. "If I'd been where you were..." His voice trailed away as he looked at the bites all over his brother. "We've got to get out of here," Samir said in a tight voice. He looked around in desperation. The cliffs surrounded them, unhelpful and uncaring. End of part 2. There, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Quite an adventure, isn't it? So join us next week and we'll see what happens to Ali and Samir. We're stuck out in the middle of nowhere all on their own with people chasing them and lots of nasty bugs and things around. So not a place I'd like to be stuck anyway, that's for sure. So have a good week. Okay, keep busy, keep safe, and see you next week for the rest of the story. Bye.